I've never done anything quite like an AP before, but I've been thinking about it for a while, until a couple of things nudged me to take the plunge. One being the encouragement of the brilliant Matt Risby of The Bad Spot, whose influence you'll very likely see here. But the main thing was the release of one of my new favourite games, Midnight Muscadines by Pandion Games. This game and its setting has so many of its dials tuned to my frequency. Vastly different dials too, with a tone that shifts from dark and apocalyptic to bright and cozy, while always feeling cohesive. It describes itself as a cozy dark game of magical jams, and I've described it as like injecting a healthy dose of Dark Souls into Apothecaria, but it's far more than a pithy tagline. The world of song is a dying world, literally fraying at the edges. The sun has gone, shattered by the one who created it. Magic is fading, and the tapestry of song's creation is wearing thin, leaving holes in the world itself. The lowlands of Nim, though, retain their grasp on civilization, bathed in the perpetual light of the beacons, the last shards of the shattered sun. Tea makers brew warm and soothing concoctions. The witches of the Cloud Coven prepare entertainment for the festivities. Life goes on. And so too does life beyond the twilight borders of Nim. In the Wildernight, communities remain, lit by fallen stars and bioluminescent flora. And into the dark wilds between those settlements go the Marmoteers, seeking the rare grapes that contain the last remnants of the world's magic. Grapes that can be mixed with other ingredients to make magical jams. Grapes that keep the sun shards shining. The Midnight Muscadines. In this series, I expect we'll hang out in libraries before facing the corrupted shadows of Tomb. We'll spend time in tea houses and uncover grand plots. We'll play games at festivals and maybe seek chained and primordial gods. That's the tone I intend to set. Chilled out, yes, but with a good serving of epic fantasy. And as well as the fantastic setting, the mechanics are really interesting too, particularly the unique plot generation tools like mentor prompts that replace some of the more traditional oracles you might roll on for ideas when you're stuck, and instead are much more focused on the craft of storytelling. You'll see that as we go though. So let's move on to creating our Marmoteer, one of the people tasked with preserving the world's magic. The first step is picking a folk, and there are lots of fun options here. I tend to stay on the boring side when I pick ancestries, but this time I'm immediately drawn to the Tatterlings, ragged folk with button eyes. As the book says, they're strange, kind, and quietly magical, never staying long but always leaving things a little more whole than when they found them. Wherever they go, things last a little longer and people hold on a little tighter. That gives us 3 abilities: Mend the Forgotten, which we can use to temporarily repair an item, memory, or a bond; Familiar with Fray, which gives us a bonus on checks to navigate the Wildernight; and a Stitch of Luck, which I'm not sure we'll be using because it seems to be more geared towards group play, but you never know. Next we select a background. Now, a Tinkerer Rookwright might work well with my Tatterling choice, but I'll come back to this later because nothing's jumping out at me right now. So after that is choosing a guild By default, we're a member of the Marmoteers Guild, a faction of explorers who brave the Wildernite and seek the Midnight Muscadines and other ingredients that can be turned into jams that preserve the magic of the world and keep the Sunshard beacons lit. But we also get a second guild. The Field Hand looks fun, a kind of Robin Hood criminal faction. I generally like playing rogues, so that's an option. But the guild directory talks about some of the goals of each guild, and I think the goals of the Cloud Coven really align with our goals for the campaign. There's cozy stuff like preparing for festivals, training magical creatures, attending magic school. But under the surface, the Cloud Coven have seriously epic ambitions. Take control of the Marmoteer jam stores, harness the power of the shooting stars, and travel to the realm of Dream to seek Nyx the Shadow Weaver. The witches recruit people with inherent magical abilities and train them at the Cloudlight University. I think playing a young recruit would give me all kinds of fun avenues to explore: magic school shenanigans, espionage intrigue, and a good reason to be involved with big epic stuff like ancient gods, realm travel, and fallen stars, while also having the university campus and its districts of bookshops and tea houses to come back to between adventures. The Cloud Coven Guild gives us an animal familiar. There's some fun options in the bestiary, like the toad that can warm up your tea, or the thigh-high beetle that stores magical energy. And as much as I'm tempted by them, I'm going to have to go with the night cat. It's great for some espionage with its ability to project an aura of darkness, but most importantly, it has the ability to charm a person, compel them to stroke it, and then grapple them with claws. Perfect. According to the companions section, we don't use these stats at the top right. Instead, we roll heart and add it to the creature's resolve score to generate an endurance. Now, we don't have heart yet, so I'll come back to that. But I am going to name our companion after one of my 3 cats, the one who often joins me in video reviews, Drift. I need to come up with an NPC contact in the guild too, which I'll probably do later, but already I'm thinking of some magic school tropes like the wise mentor pulling the strings in the background and the infuriating rival. Right now though, we need to go back and look at backgrounds, and this time something definitely stands out. Thread Scribe. Seeker of lost places, someone at home in the Wildernite, in tune with the threads of reality, the kind of person the witches might send out to seek lost knowledge or traverse into the realm of Dream. The Thread Scribe can lower the risk rating of an area and is immune to being disoriented. Onto attributes, and Midnight Muscadines uses a step dice system for its rolls, so we next need to assign a die size to each attribute. We've got a standard array, so I'll assign a d4 to strength, a d8 to dexterity, a d4 to willpower, and a d6 to heart. As a thread scribe, we can then step up our dexterity and willpower to a d10 and a d6 for a sneaky but not very strong witch. We also get our endurance and protection scores from our background, so that's 8 max endurance and a d4 protection, which will roll to reduce incoming damage to our endurance. Thread scribes don't have a lot of protection, but have a reasonably high endurance. Oh, and we can roll heart now to give Drift an endurance score using our d6 in heart, which is 4. So, added to the Nightcat's resolve, that's 6 endurance. Now, we need to build our jam jar, which gives us a starting spell. We need to draw 2 ingredients, and use one of them to make a magical jam. Later we can combine ingredients into all kinds of weird spells, but we start with one in the jar and one spare. So 10 of clubs and Queen of Hearts. So that's Dusk Mint and Wicket Reed. Dusk Mint is a cool grey-green herb with a refreshing scent able to calm the mind, a favourite in many tea houses. Clear one slot of a mental condition. And Wicket Reed is usually found in cold wetlands. The thick blades can fully surround small ponds as they weave together. These thickets have been known to be a home for will-o'-the-wisps, commonly used in basket weaving. Produce a small basket of gifts or attract a helpful spirit. I think I'll pick Wicket Reed for our first jam. It's a little bit flashier. And since it's a single ingredient spell, the impact die is a d6. Okay, next, an item. So narratively, we can have whatever gear we like, but we have 4 slots for mechanical items. I'll draw on the item table and see what we get. They're meant to be evocative, stuff we can invent the mechanics of. So, King of Clubs is a Veil Serpent Shawl. I'm sure I've read something about a Veil Serpent. Okay, here it is. Veiled Viper, a sentient, translucent snake that slithers through the air as if swimming, only visible when caught in starlight. Alright, so maybe they occasionally shed their skin. It's quite rare, but a skilled leather worker can turn it into a cloak that makes really good camouflage, like the elven cloaks in Lord of the Rings. That's perfect for our sneaky witch. I love it. Just a couple more things now. We need a style and a quirk. We could roll on the style table, but I'm immediately drawn to Shadow Whisperer, which says, finds comfort in the wilder night, speaking softly to unseen creatures and listening for answers. I think that really suits the character we have so far, and maybe that's what got them recruited by the Coven. I will roll for a quirk though. 5 is Unintentional Rhymer. Has a habit of speaking in rhymes without realising it, often to their own frustration. Well, okay. I love it. It'll be tricky, but I really like that. Now, what's left? A name and pronouns, I guess. Well, all the Tatterling art is quite gender neutral, and I kind of want to lean into that. So, I think I'll go with they, them. And name? Titch. Titch the Tatterling Witch. Shiny button eyes peer curiously from the shadow of a far too big and broad-rimmed witch's hat. The lower half of the face is obscured by a long silvery shawl, part cloak, part scarf. The rest of their attire is practical and well-worn. At the hip, a marmoteer's jar glows faintly, hanging from a kind of bandolier belt with pouches for ingredients. Its brass lid has various mysterious catches and handles. They're relatively short for a Tatterling, and whatever their original name was, Titch is the one that stuck. And ever by their side is Drift the Nightcat, prowling and stockily built. The tips of his ears rise to waist height. Titch's waist, that is. We'll find out more about Titch as we play, but for now, I think they were born in the dark wilder night and recruited by the Cloud Coven Marmoteers, striding out from their home village to the Witches' Wing of the Cloudlight University, their new home, where they were trained in some of the more covert Coven activities by Madame Glass, a stern and experienced witch who seems to have taken a liking to our young Tatterling. But despite the comforts of Cloudlight, its university, its lamplight district, and the shining spire of luminous knowledge, the Wildernite still calls, and Titch finds himself seeking comfort in the dark, forgotten places of the world. Now, before we get to the adventure, I want to briefly mention the format of the sessions. I find APs helpful to learn a game, so I'll be including the mechanics as well as the story, but there's various ways of doing that. I could live stream or record myself writing, but I tend to take my time and change my mind a lot when playing solo, and that's not interesting. I thought about putting the mechanics on screen while the story's happening, but that's not an accessible format. I thought about all kinds of ways of doing this, and in the end, here's what I've decided. I'll play on my own with no pressure to perform, writing at whatever pace suits me, noting down both the story and the mechanics, and then later I'll record the video from my notes exactly as they are, as if it's actually happening right now. It won't technically be a live play, but it'll flow and sound like one, because it'll follow what I wrote at the time. It'll include all my rules mistakes, my journey of learning a new game, all my dice rolls and card draws, and the fiction that I wrote, combined together in the way that I think will be most interesting and useful to listen to. So to start our adventure, we need an inciting incident. And fortunately, there's an inciting incident table. We roll a d20, and that's a 19. A trusted mentor reveals a shocking secret about their past and asks you to retrieve something critical to their redemption. I mean, that sounds perfect, but after thinking about it, I'm going to bank that prompt and establish some things first, like our mentor character. I'd like to get to know Madame Glass a bit first, and I like to start solo games in media res and set the tone straight away, like how the opening section of Raiders of the Lost Ark gets you straight into the action, making promises about what to expect from the series. So, what opening adventure sets the tone? Well, I always say you only need two things for an adventure: a location and a thing to do there. And what's the first thing I said to expect from this series? We'll hang out in libraries, so let's make it a library. But it's also got to have an epic fantasy factor. So it's a vast, ancient and buried library with a hidden entrance full of strangeness, spirits and secrets, and maybe more than a little danger. And what are we doing in this library? Oh, I feel like that's kind of obvious. We're here to check out a book. Thank you so much for joining me on this little adventure. I'm genuinely so excited about it. It's a bit of a departure, but hopefully in keeping with the tone of the channel. A few special mentions here. A huge thank you to Andy of Pandion Games, not just for designing a really awesome game, but also for helping me out with my questions and requests for this project. If you haven't already, go and check out Andy's games, join the Discord, all that stuff. There's various other folks who worked on the game, of course, and I want to specifically highlight Galen Pajot, who created all these incredible moody illustrations of Nim and the Wildernite, and Eric Lejour, who edited the book and produced one of the first unofficial supplements, Whining and Dining Under the Beacons, which I bet I'll be using at some point, so check them out too. Of course, a huge, massive thank you to this month's Ko-fi supporters. If you'd like to help me make more strange things like this and feel able to support, then head over to ko-fi.com/cozyrpgreviews. Hopefully session 1 will be out soon and you can laugh at all my rules mistakes and confusion, but just maybe it'll be a fun story too. So until then, happy adventures!